All right, now that we have everyone seated, we can proceed with the election of a president.
As interim president, I'd like to ask if anyone would like to make a motion for nomination for presidency.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Belmont for president.
I nominate Marilyn Scott.
Is there any other nominations?
Don't need seconds.
Can we take a roll vote then?
We need a motion to close nominations.
Someone make a motion to close the nominations. All in favor? Aye.
Now we'll have a roll call vote, and each member should state nominees you would.
Okay. Mr. Graves,
Mr. Belmont.
Ms. Creech,
Ms. Scott.
Ms. Scott,
Do I vote now or do I wait till the end? Since I'm acting?
Vote now.
Okay, I'm gonna say Mr. Belmont, thank you.
Ms. Lawson, Ms. Curry, Mr. Scott, Ms. Reed,
Ms. Scott.
Mr. Belmont,
Mr. Belmont.
I have 3 for Ms. Scott, 5 for Mr. Belmont.
Do we have any nominations for vice president?
I nominate Bridget Creech.
Any other nominations for vice president? All right, last call for nominations for vice president. Motion to close. Someone make that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And directors can vote for,
Mr. Graves,
Ms. Lawson.
Ms. Creech,
Bridget Creek.
Ms. Scott,
Ms. Creech.
Mr. Belmont,
Ms. Lawson.
Ms. Lawson, Ms. Curry, Mr. Scott, Ms. Reed,
Ms. Creech.
Mhm.
all right, so you have a tie.
Yes.
I realize we only have 8 members. So your options are to defer this until you appoint. Another roll call. 5 affirmative votes to appoint the vice. Yes, the question before the board.
Make a motion to table.
Definitely make the motion to table it?
Yes.
I'll second that. Can I second that?
Need a voice vote.
Oh, so, yes, for the voice vote on the motion to table until an appointment is made.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Seek approval to accept with Mr. Belmer, take this on, or am I still doing this?
Still do it.
Okay, great. We seek approval to accept the 2022 Woodland Hills School District Board of Education meeting dates.
Second.
Second, who first?
Same move.
Heard Mr. Graves make a motion. Did you have a
So I need to
second?
Second it.
Ready for roll call.
So it's open online. They can open on, okay.
She didn't come in.
Okay. Mr. Graves, I'll do the voice vote.
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Oh, yes, I was able to vote online, but
you were?
yeah, it just popped up.
Okay.
But yes,
Yeah, yours did.
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. Ms. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Garza. Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Creech?
Yes.
Okay, the vote's unanimous.
Okay, board matters 2.5, we seek approval to accept the 2022 committee meeting dates. We have a motion? So moved. By Ms. Curry, second by Ms. Lawson.
I'm sorry.
Getting training.
Okay, the online voting is open. You see, thanks. We might be having a connection. Mr. Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Creech,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson, Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Belmont.
Yes.
Vote passes unanimous.
Six, and seek approval to name Tucker Aaronsburg, PC, as the Woodland Hills High School District Solicitor. We have a motion? Second. Moved by Ms. Lawson, second by Ms. Curry. I was like, student representative, that's not your name. I was looking at the wrong side. It's a hot mess.
Mr. Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Creech,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Belmont.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Matt.
Vote passes unanimous.
Skipping ahead to item 20. Yeah, we seek permission to adjourn the December 6th, 2021 reorganization meeting.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Lawson, second by Ms. Curry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One moment.
If you're ready, Mr. Belmont,
Yes,
you can
sir.
call the regular meeting to order.
One moment, please.
Yes.
I have to open up the other meeting.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. I'd like to call to order the December legislative meeting for the Woodland Hills School District. Roll call, please, Teresa.
Yes. Mr. Graves,
Present.
Ms. Lawson.
Here.
Ms. Curry,
Here.
Mr. Belmont,
Here.
Ms. Scott,
Here.
Ms. Reed,
Here.
Mr. Scott.
Here.
Ms. Creech.
Here.
All rise for another flag salute, please.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion for acceptance of the November board minutes?
So moved.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson.
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Belmont,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Creech.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Passes unanimous.
Okay, at this point in time, we will adjourn to executive session. Ms. Boyd has a couple of items for us. We'll do it over in Eddie's office.
That's it. Thank you. Hi, Ms. Lawson. I don't know how long this will on. Hi, Dr. Pope. How you doing? Good. Thank you.
sorry.
Just leave it on the table.
There's bagel.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Are you waiting for Marilyn?
Marilyn.
Marilyn and Terry, Ms. Lawson.
Okay.
Just took it.
Who's gonna say that?
Looking at the language for a contract. This requires further investigation.
No, Jenny again sent bagels today. She sent a lot of them. We haven't got that.
We'll wait one more minute and then Marilyn and Terry can join us. Next piece of the agenda. Okay, we just adjourned from executive session. We were discussing personnel matters. Mr. Harris, do we have any announcements?
Yes, three. The Woodland Hills School District and the Emmanuel Baptist Church will host a gun buyback program from 10 a.m. to noon this Saturday, December 11th, at the church's location, which is 245 3rd Avenue in Rankin. The event is part of a previously announced partnership between the Woodland Hills School District, Reverend Christopher Conti, and the Emmanuel Baptist Church. Mayor Jaleesa McDonald of Rankin and the Chief of Police, Ryan Wooten, the City of Rankin, Chief of Police Ophelia Coleman, and the Wilkinsburg Police Department, Pennsylvania State Senator Jay Costa, and supported by financial support of an anonymous donor.
What are the hours on that?
The hours are 10 a.m. to noon on Saturday. Handguns will be purchased for $50 and rifles will be purchased for $25. There is no limit on the number of firearms an individual can bring to have purchased at the buyback event. Basically, we want to provide a safe and secure way with no questions asked for our community members to dispose of these firearms. This is an opportunity for us to respond to gun violence in our communities and try to take steps to reduce the trauma our students, staff, and community members face in their daily lives. So come out Saturday morning, 10 to noon. At the high school, there's a play happening this Friday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. It's Check Please plus Tip. It's being performed by the Performing Arts class. It's free. However, donations are gladly accepted. Finally, the Woodland Hills School District, in collaboration with the Black Equity Coalition, is proud to announce its Community Engagement Holiday Health Fair this Saturday also between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Administrative Center at Fairless, located here at 531 Jones Avenue, North Braddock. There will be multiple activities available for the community, including Ask the Doctor segment, Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines for adults and youth. They must register for shots. Line dancing with Roland Ford, delicious healthy snack packs for the first 100 attendees, pictures with Santa, and lots of free giveaways. Mental health professionals will be on site as well. You don't want to miss this. So tell a friend and we'll see you there. Please RSVP at HAWTTE@WHSD.net. Go to our website for more details. Thank you.
Thank
Those are all
you.
the announcements.
Teresa, any presentations tonight?
No presentations tonight.
Any registered speakers?
No registered speakers.
Thank you. Moving on to board matters.
Okay, would the board like to take these as consent items or just one by one?
I like to remove 2.1.
Sorry,
I like to remove 2.1. I like to vote on that separately if we do vote for consent.
so we can just go line by line if you like.
Yeah.
Does
Which,
anyone want to make a motion to approve of the agenda by consent? Is that what we're,
That's what I'm asking. We can
Okay.
keep it the way it is, or because there's no
someone would
consent.
have to make a motion first, right?
correct. Is there a motion to vote by consent?
Second,
Second. Ms. Reed's already indicated we're going to pull out 2.1. Are there any other tabs?
May I make a comment, Mr. Belmont?
Sure.
We still have to name someone for the appointment for the Forbes Road in the eastern area.
so that's 2.6 and 2.7. Those should be considered separately as well.
Okay, thanks, Val.
Thank you, Pat.
Any other items to
Anything
be
else?
pulled? Okay,
Okay, board matters 2.1, first reading of revised policy 122, eligibility. On the proposed change to the policy would be the language and or failing to maintain a passing grade of 60 or higher in all classes. Are there any questions?
My concern with that, well, one, I wasn't involved with this, obviously, because I'm just getting here. But my concern with that is that if a child who is unidentified or has been identified and has a child with a disability, if for some reason they're not being accommodated in regards to their academic performance, I don't want to vote on a policy that could potentially exclude them from sports. And so that's why that's my concern with that.
okay, thank you. Rana,
Just clarifying, it's the first reading. Are we voting on this?
no,
So
first
this will be
reading.
considered in policy for the
Yes,
next 2 months.
for the new board members, we read policies 3 times, third, and you vote. But you can comment on again this next month.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments on 2.1? Okay, let's move to 2.6.
Board matters 2.6, we seek approval of the appointment of blank as board representative for the Forbes Road Career and Technology Center.
I'm happy to take that on.
Okay. Is there a second to Marilyn doing that? Terry? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Marilyn, for doing that.
Certainly.
Thank you. 2.7.
Hold on. Teresa? Is that okay with you?
Do we have a motion for that? I just heard,
did.
I want to do it and
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was doing. I thought I heard Miss Reed, Miss Curry.
I think I heard.
Okay, Miss Curry said that she made the motion,
Yeah.
and then Ms. Lawson seconded. it.
okay, I did not hear
So
Ms.
thank you
Lawson.
for that, because I didn't have that. And then the vote was unanimous.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the next one.
2.7.
2.7, board matters. We seek the approval for the appointment of blank as board representative for the Eastern Area Jointer Committee.
Anybody interested in that? Appreciate that.
So moved. Second, whoever you need. I think I heard Ms. Curry make that motion and I seconded it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It's hard with all the masks.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Terry. Now we're back to consent.
Okay, board matters 2.2. We seek approval to accept a $5,000 donation from an anonymous donor for the gun buyback project. Board matters 2.3. We seek approval to accept the resignation of Andre Patterson from the Woodland Hills School Board of Directors.
What, oh, excuse me.
We're doing those as consent.
Okay, thank you.
Board matters 2.4. We seek approval to accept the resignation of David W. Graves Jr. from the Woodland Hills School Board of Directors. Board matters 2.5. We seek approval of the proposed fair funding resolution. How about I just stick with board matters as a consent and then we go to the others in by category. Okay, so that's all of board matters.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Marilyn, seconded by Terry. Any discussions on any of those items?
I just want to say thanks for adding the fair funding resolution. It's something I'm really passionate about. Those of you who been hearing me talk about it for months or watching me go out to Harrisburg to march and demonstrate in support of this lawsuit. While we are not one of the school districts that are, taking part in the suit, it is something that would absolutely affect the scholars in our district long-term, should this fair funding resolution and lawsuit come through. So I appreciate your support on that. And I urge you, if you're a part of your PTAs or other local organizations, to take and pass these resolutions as well.
Ms. Scott, I'd like to thank you for driving to Harrisburg that day and showing your presence in support of this. The fair funding resolution is this in a nutshell. Pennsylvania is the worst state when it comes to funding their schools equitably across the Commonwealth. We have a 33% differential when it comes to affluent districts versus poor districts in the amount of money spent. The affluent districts versus the poor districts. What Maryland did and the other folks there was they were saying, we've got to do something about this. So I appreciate your showing up. It's I've seen studies on this, and if anything like this was to happen, the windfall for Woodland Hills would be noticeable. It would be a big help. So thank you. I'd also like to thank Andre Patterson for his service, and then also David. I'm sorry to see you go. I value our friendship. When you joined a few years ago, who knew? And I consider you a good friend. And thank you for your dedication, the time you've put in, the hours, not just the agenda and legislative meetings, but the committee meetings and everything else. Thank you for all that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I'm gonna piggyback off of Mike and say, thanks, Andre. It was nice meeting you. I wish we would have got to work together a little longer. I just also want to welcome our new board constituents. And I want to say, it's been real. I've known you since I probably knew people. Grew up as neighbors. And again, I've learned a lot from you. I learned how to be better, even in a different way. So I thank you, my dear friend.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to Andre, Mr. Patterson. Thank you very much for your service.
Anyone else? Okay, vote please.
Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Oh, yes.
Ms. Preach,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Belmont.
Yes on everything except David's resignation.
Okay, I need a second, please. Just one.
Take your time. All righty.
Okay, curriculum 3.1, we seek approval to move forward with purchases, hiring, and implementation of all aspects of Woodland Hills Opportunity Camp for 2022, based on the attached project description and budget of $1,499,070 from ESSER 3 funds. Are there any questions?
We talked about this a lot of committees, but Mr. Wilson, do you mind popping up and just saying a few words for our new board members? Just to kind of bring them up to speed, since this is a big dollar amount and the first major spending that they're.
Sure,
that okay?
absolutely.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I just kind of want to recap everything neatly if we could.
I like being on the spot and I like to speak, so it's not a problem at all. So you'll remember, board, that we have received approximately $15 million in ESSER 3 funds plus a 7.5% 7% set aside from the state that is specifically allocated. At least 20% of that money has to be allocated to mitigating learning loss due to COVID and going virtual. And so we have decided that our 20%, the overwhelming majority of the funds that we're going to use, that's $3 for in terms of learning loss, would go towards the Woodland Hills Opportunity Camp. For those that don't know, last year was our first year operating Woodland Hills Opportunity Camp. We ran it at Dixon with approximately 200 scholars. And you'll see in the tab, I included the surveys from both scholars and parents, from parents and staff. We didn't have a scholar survey this year, we will next year. And the overwhelming feedback was that it was extremely positive, extremely well received by the community. We would like to expand, and instead of serving 600 scholars, we'd like to serve 600 scholars this year at all 3 of our elementary buildings. The reason why we are proposing to do this in December is so that we can get a coordinator on board in January. We know that getting activities providers lined up by summertime, getting staffing for 600 scholars and registering 600 scholars is going to take longer than the 6 weeks that we had last year for the brand new program. We're excited about what Opportunity Camp is. For, again, just to kind of fill everybody in on what it is, the idea that the achievement gap is based on research, one, mostly caused by learning loss due to out of school time, and 2, is more of an opportunity gap than it is an achievement gap, is what built the idea of Opportunity Camp. So we do have about half of the day that's focused on instruction. 3/4 of that instruction is reading instruction, 1/4 of that is math instruction. But then the other half of the day is focused on giving our scholars the opportunities that their peers and more affluent districts take for granted over the summer. That was everything from modeling and painting to scale globe at Dixon, for anybody that hasn't seen that, to learning how to play soccer, to learning how to play chess, building ceramics, all of the opportunities that we know create dendritic connections in the brains of our scholars so that they actually make connections to what they're learning throughout the year are what we try to build in, so that it's not what we might call drill and kill. It is very much experiential project-based learning. So with that, it cost us approximately $750,000 last year to fund 200 scholars. We've been able to not only increase the stipends for educators and increase a lot of the compensation that we're offering, but also to find some ways to create some savings there so that we would expand. We would only double the cost for 3 times the amount of scholars. So we're pretty excited about that as well.
Mr. Wilson, as far as enrollment for the camp, what you anticipate an increase. How are we going about that?
Absolutely, great question. So the primary catalyst for the increase in enrollment, we believe, will be word of mouth from last year. Last year with our 200 scholars, you'll see the overwhelming majority of families said not only do they want to come back, but they want to ask other families to be a part of Opportunity Camp, and that they would recommend Opportunity Camp to other families. So we believe strongly that word of mouth and the success that we had last year is going to fuel an increase in enrollment, but also by starting January 1 of 2022, we're going to be able to market a lot better. We're going to be able to go into schools. I'll go into classrooms and to schools to actually recruit scholars, to get them excited for camp and what all they could be a part of with camp. We'll do a request for proposals for our large activities. So by February, we'll be able to state to families that we'll have, and we'll be able to name the activities that we have. When I ran a similar project in Pittsburgh Public, we had everything from fencing to ultimate frisbee to kayaking. So we hope to be able to offer some of those same types of activities for our scholars over the summer. And when you go into a school and say, hey, not only am I going to give you the opportunity for a free summer camp, but you're also going to take home between 10 and 20 books, and you're going to learn to fence. There are very few families that they're like, oh no, I'll pass. So we believe that we'll be able to reach that number pretty easily. But much like last year, if there are any changes or if we need to scale down or possibly scale up, then we would come back to the board and let y'all know. But we want to have the tab passed to be able to do all of the things so that we're not coming back to you 30 times between now and June to ask for different pieces of the camp.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Looking at the curriculum line item, what are you proposing to use, like an online program?
No, not an online program at all. So we are very much aware of the cost of screen time for our scholars since we had to go virtual for so long over COVID. So we are intentionally tech-free unless tech is an active part of an activity. So last year, the coordinator that we hired, one of our educators from Turtle Creek, Tamika McGee, she worked with several different curriculum vendors and ultimately came up with, there's an active curriculum from Scholastic that is built around, it's called Lit Camp. It's built around summer learning. And so we use that for reading instruction. And then she single-handedly built out a project-based, game-based math curriculum for the 30 to 45 minutes a day that was math. Because again, we want to stay away from worksheets and textbooks. We want this to be, this is where math is used every day. We need it to be rigorous, relevant, and joyful.
Okay, thanks, Eddie.
Absolutely.
You want to vote on this there?
Thanks, everyone.
That's what I thought. Okay. Okay, is there a motion?
So moved. Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Any further questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Gray,
Yes.
Ms. Creech,
Yes.
Ms. Spot,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson, Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Belmont.
Yes.
Okay, personnel, 6.1, Section A, authorization for leave. Section B, authorization for retirement / resignation. Section C, authorization to hire professional staff. Section D, authorization to hire non-professional staff. Section E, authorization for transfer. Section F, authorization for EDR / mentor actions. Section G, authorization for miscellaneous. Are there any questions? That would not require us going into executive session.
Want to vote on this separately? Okay, roll call, please.
Motion and second
Oops.
first.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Creech,
Yes.
Ms. Spot,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Mr. Belmont.
Yes.
It's personnel 6.2. We seek approval of the revised job description for one youth services librarian at Swissville Library to work 30 hours a week at $15 to $16 per hour paid from RAD distress funds. Are there any questions?
Are we not doing this by consent? Shouldn't we just,
Because there are new folks and their questions, so
I was just,
yeah. with that
Misunderstanding.
too.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Motion.
Ms. Lawson, take your pick. You both kept saying the same words at the same moment.
Okay.
The solicitor, you are comfortable with that?
Fine.
Thank you. Like to be by the book.
That was a pick'em, Terry.
Okay.
Your call.
Mr. Graves,
yes.
Ms. Creech.
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Belmont.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, personnel 6.3, we seek approval of the revised job description for one library assistant at the Swissville Library to work 30 hours a week at $12 to $12.50 per hour paid from RAD distress funds. Are there any questions?
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Creech.
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Belmont.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, 8, safety and security, 8.1, we seek approval to petition the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas to issue the Woodland Hills School District an ORI, originating agency identifier number. This number will allow the Woodland Hills School District to gain access to Allegheny County Emergency Services dispatch information. It will allow us to have information critical to the safety of our students, faculty, and staff, and provide greater oversight to all schools, students, and personnel within our district. Basically, this puts us in the loop of information where now we have to go and ask someone for the information.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Creech,
Yes.
Mr. Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Belmont.
Yes.
Passed.
Number 9, food service, transportation, 9.1, we seek approval to accept a proposal from Heartland for a new point of sale POS system for our cafeterias.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Dan seconded. Motion by Marilyn and seconded by Terry.
Ms. Lawson, yes.
Okay. Any questions on this? Roll call, please.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Creech,
Yes.
Mr. Graves,
Yes.
Mr. Belmont.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Buildings and grounds, 10.1, we seek approval to permit the use of Woodland Hills School District facilities for stated events. There is one change. The first item on the list needs to go from a category 1 to a category 2. So, request permission to change that and approve as changed.
Is there a motion?
So moved with that note made.
Second. Thank you, Ms. Lawson. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Ms. Creech,
Yes.
Mr. Graves,
Yes.
Mr. Belmont.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay. School finance, 14.1, we seek ratification of the bill list for invoices paid after the November 17th legislative meeting. Questions?
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Creek,
Yes.
Ms. Spot,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Spot,
Yes.
Mr. Belmore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
School Finance 14.2, we seek approval of the December 2021 bill list. Are there any questions?
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Creek,
Yes.
Ms. Spot,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Spot,
Yes.
Mr. Belmore.
Yes.
Motion passed.
School Finance 14.3, we seek approval to pay all contractual and recurring bills received in December 2021. Are there any questions?
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Creek,
Yes.
Ms. Spot,
Yes.
Ms. Lawson,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Spot,
Yes.
Mr. Belmore.
Yes. Is there anything? Thank you. Is there anything under old business? Is there anything under new business? I'd like to thank our recently departed school board members, Dr. Hildebrand, Jamie Glasser, and Sharday Seligson for their service. It was truly a pleasure working with those guys. Gonna miss them. And welcome to our new board members. Arnika, Carlton, and Bridget, welcome. And any questions you might have along the way, please feel free to ask. Bridget, I know you will. You've already indicated that. Okay. Are there any public comments?
Well, they would have to raise their hand.
Are they doing that? Did you say there's a raised hand, Eddie? Okay. Okay.
I think I was the raised hand. Good evening. My name is Audra Hamlet, and I have the same question I had last meeting. When is the principal's job up at the high school going to be posted?
We'd have communication.
Yeah, we can have communication after that posting goes up. At this point in time, we don't have it up.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else, Mr. Wilson? That's it? Okay. 20.1.
20.1, we seek permission to adjourn the December 16, 2021 legislative meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Meeting adjourned.
Aye. I'll just say aye. That's what I said. Like, Sharday said.
I'm taking the cheese with me.